meeting will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Napoleon FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there.
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts. Carefully and accurately, I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn,
Your duties there.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice is always based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 8 members, 1 advisor, and numerous guests present, Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To
Practice brotherhood, honor agriculture opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes, I now declare this meeting of the Napoleon FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Is there any business which should now be transacted?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Sentinel.
I move that we steal Mr. Schneider's coffee.
Second the motion.
It's been properly moved.
I call for the orders of the day.
The orders of the day have been called for. Does any member object to following the orders of the day? Objections, objections. Hearing none, we shall follow the orders of the day. Madam Secretary, what are the orders of the day?
Chapter industry tour and chapter promotion.
What are the wishes of the chapter?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Secretary.
I move that our chapter tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo.
Second the motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter tour the Case IH Assembly Plant in Fargo. Is there any discussion on the main motion?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Secretary.
members, get behind me and vote yes on this motion. Our president was up to go to the egg sales contest for nationals, and she didn't even know what a baler was. We really need to figure out how this equipment is made and how we can gain knowledge from it, and this tour will offer that. Please get behind me and passing this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Treasurer.
I only know tractors by their color, and I don't even know what color Case IH is. This motion is a terrible idea, and I'm pretty biased towards John Deere. My parents have brainwashed me into only liking the green tractors, and so I think this tour would be a terrible idea, and I'll encourage you to vote this motion down.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Sentinel.
I agree with the previous speaker. I'm totally for John Deere, and I don't even like Case IH. I think that going to Fargo is such a distance away. It's too far for us. We live in Napoleon. It's going to take 3 hours to get there and 3 hours to come back home. I really don't want to sit and wait that long on the bus and do this tour at all. So get behind me and vote in the negative.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Reporter.
FFA members, I'm totally in favor of this motion. First of all, we get to miss a day of school, and who doesn't love that? I know I do. I think we need to help our other members that are from the city get more into agriculture through FFA, and I think this is a great way for them to learn. So I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Vice President.
I'm highly in favor of this motion. Case IH, it's all that I have on my farm and who I work for. When I go over there, I know that I'm working with good quality products in Case IH and not John Deere. And I just think it would be great for me to go and experience this plant and see how the tractors are assembled. So please get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President! Chair Kansas Sentinel.
FFA members, we don't have time to go. We have a lot of stuff going on. And for me, I have a lot of hard classes this year, and I'm doing a lot of homework after school. And I don't see the point in going to Fargo and wasting my time and not getting my education during this time. So I encourage you to fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Treasurer.
a tractor assembly plant, isn't that where tractors are put together and made? I feel like this would be very dangerous and a huge liability to our chapter. And I'm being the treasurer, I see our funds, and I don't think our funds can support a liability issue right now, so I encourage you all to fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Reporter.
I move to amend the main motion by adding on next month at the end of the motion.
Second motion. It's been properly moved and seconded that we amend the main motion by adding in next month at the end. So if adopted, the new motion will state that our chapter tour Case IH assembly plant in Fargo next month. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Reporter.
I'm totally in favor of this amendment. We have a lot going on in October with Parli and Nationals, and in November we don't do anything. In December we're participating for more of the winter CDEs, and we're preparing for that. And I think November is a really great month to do this tour, and we'll have enough time for it, and it will be worth our time. So I encourage you all to pass this amendment.
Madam President.
Chair Kansas Secretary.
This amendment is a great idea. Having us do this next month instead of right now is just a perfect idea. We don't have anything going on. We have no contest in November, and it's just the best time for us in our chapter. So I urge you all to pass this amendment.
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Vice President.
I'm in favor of this amendment. Having it next month's a great idea, being that we're really busy right now with Parli, and then Nationals is going to be coming up. And we also have a lot of sports going on right now, and next month a lot of them are ending. So I really think this is a great idea. So please get behind me and pass this amendment.
Is there any other discussion on the amendment?
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Vice President.
I move previous question on all pending matters.
Second motion. It's been properly moved and seconded that we move previous question on all pending matters. All those in favor of moving previous question on all pending matters, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. All those who oppose, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. With 7 in the affirmative and 0 in the negative, motion passes, and we will move previous question on all pending matters. All those in favor that we amend the main motion by adding in next month at the end of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, please say no.
No.
Ayes have it. Motion passes, and we will amend the main motion. All those in favor of the main motion, which states that our Chapter 2 or Case IH assembly plant in Fargo next month, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, please say no.
No.
Ayes have it. Motion passes, and our chapter will
I
tour.
call a division of the House.
A division of the House has been called for. All those in favor that our Chapter 2 or Case IH assembly plant in Fargo next month, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. All those who oppose, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. With 5 in the affirmative and 2 in the negative, motion passes, and our chapter will tour Case IH assembly plant in Fargo next month. Is there any other new business?
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Reporter.
I move that we go bungee jumping.
Second motion. It's been properly moved and seconded.
I withdraw my motion.
Motion withdrawn. Is there any other new business?
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Treasurer.
I move that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects.
Second motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter post a bi-weekly spotlight on social media to highlight SAE projects. Is there a discussion on the main motion?
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Treasurer.
being I don't have an SAE project myself, I like to see what other people are doing in their SAEs. I feel like this would be a great way to show some great SAE projects off, because I know our members work hard for their SAEs, and I feel like this would be a great opportunity for them to get out there and for everyone to know what they're doing in their spare time to work hard for this SAE. So I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam
Rise for a
President.
parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What vote is needed to pass this motion?
Main motion requires a majority vote for passage. Is there any discussion on the main motion?
Madam President.
Chair Kansas Reporter.
FFA members, this motion is a great idea. Personally, I have a great SAE program, and I think I should get some recognition for this great SAE, and I think it's a great way to do this on social media, meaning I run the social media platforms. I think it's just great that we should spotlight some of these individuals and really give credit for the hard work that they're doing on their SAE. So I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam President. Chair Kansas Secretary.
This motion is a horrible idea. Our state association already does these SAE spotlights, and we don't want to step on their toes. Why would we want to make them angry and take what they're already doing? This motion is not a good idea, and I urge you all to fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chair Kansas Vice President.
I'm highly not in favor of this motion. I hate social media. I never use it. People that go on it, they just post stupid stuff that's not even related to anything that we're doing. And having a spotlight thing, I don't think we need it, as we don't have many people in our chapter that even do an SAE project. So please get behind me and fail this motion.
Madam President.
Chair Kansas Sentinel.
I agree with the previous speakers who spoke for this motion. I believe they do need the recognition that they deserve. However, a lot of our members don't know what to do for an SAE, and I think that this will get them inspired to do something and be a part of our chapter. I really agree with this motion, and I urge you to vote in the affirmative.
Madam President.
Chair, as Secretary.
Seeing that our guest speaker is here, I will lay this motion on the table.
Second motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table. All those in favor that we lay this motion on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, please say no.
No.
No, that motion fails, and this motion is not laid on the table. Is there any other discussion on the main motion?
Madam President.
Chair, Kness's reporter.
I would like to speak in favor of this motion. It's been established that we don't have many people participating in SAEs, and I think that's just so sad. SAEs are so fun, and they can get you lots of scholarships and lots of money, that's for sure. So I think that we should really highlight these people, and more people will be able to do SAEs, and they'll get inspired to have an SAE project, and they'll really get more involved in our FFA chapter. So I encourage you all to vote in the affirmative on this motion.
Madam President. Chair, Kness's Sentinel.
I totally agree with this motion. Seeing that I got inspired to be in the horse SAE program because someone else had a SAE horse equine entrepreneurship, I got involved too. And this is going to make such an impact on our members, I believe. I think that if we promote this enough, we're going to reach members and we're going to have more participants in the SAE program. So I urge you to vote for this motion.
Madam President.
Chair, Kness's Treasurer.
I just want to reiterate my point. This is a great incentive for our members and their SAE projects. This is going to happen bi-weekly, and I don't think it's too much work for our chapter at all to post on social media every 2 weeks. And I feel like this is a great incentive, so I really encourage you guys all to pass this motion.
Madam President.
Chair, Kness's Secretary.
This motion is still just not a good idea. We don't have time to be going to people's houses and taking pictures of their SAE and making sure that they have all their requirements and just being able to post this on social media. We just don't have time for this, and I don't know why we would just want to make us more busy than we already are. So I urge you all to fail this motion.
Madam President.
Chair, Kness's Vice President.
I move to take a 10-minute recess for informal consultation.
Second motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we take a 10-minute recess for informal consultation. This motion is amendable. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, we'll now proceed to vote. All those in favor that we take a 10-minute recess for informal consultation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, please say no.
No.
No, that motion failed, and we will not take a 10-minute recess for informal consultation. Is there any other discussion on the main motion that states we post a bi-weekly spotlight on social media to highlight our SAEs?
Madam President.
Chair, Kness's Vice President.
I'm still not in favor of this motion, not only because it's SAE projects that I don't even participate in, but also that it's on social media. I'm still not in favor of this. I do not like social media one bit, and I don't think many people would be looking at it and seeing it on social media, as not many people are using it. So please get behind me and fail this motion.
Is there any other discussion on the main motion? Discussion. Hearing none, we'll now proceed to vote. All those in favor that our chapter post a bi-weekly spotlight on social media to highlight SAEs, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, please say no.
No.
Ayes have it, motion passes, and our chapter will post a bi-weekly spotlight on social media to highlight SAEs. Is there any other new business? New business? Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Madam President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should probably come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Napoleon FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this meeting adjourned.
Officers at their stations. I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Station by the door.
Your duties there.
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to assist President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter, stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order so that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization which reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands, state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the Emblem of Washington.
Your duties there.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington is better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties, sir.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries, wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Hereby the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripen with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we shall follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their station.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 7 members and numerous guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? Practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes and now declare this meeting of the Fessenden-Bowdon FFA chapter duly open to the transaction of business or any attention to any matters which may properly be presented.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President,
I move that our chapter has a barbecue.
Second motion.
it has been properly...
Mr. President, I call for orders of the day.
Orders of the day have been called. Madam Secretary, what are the orders of the day?
Chapter industry tour and chapter promotion.
Is there any objection to following the orders of the day? Seeing none, we will follow the orders of the day.
Mr. President,
Madam Secretary.
I move that our chapter tour the Case IH tractor assembly plant in Fargo.
Second motion.
It has been properly moved and seconded that our chapter tutor the Case IH tractor assembly plant in Fargo. Is there any debate?
Mr. President,
Madam Secretary.
I love this motion. I'm a huge Case IH fan, and I would just love to see how they're made and bring it back and show my uncle what I've learned about how Case IH tractors and everything are made. So please help me pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Madam Sentinel.
I love this motion. I believe that this should be a requirement for our FFA chapter to just know a little bit about tractor assembly. I, for one, do not know much and would love to learn a little bit. So for these reasons, please pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Treasurer.
I also am in favor of this motion. A lot of us being farmers in the FFA chapter and everything, a lot of us use these tractors a lot, and it'd just be nice to see how they put these together and see all the work that goes in just to making one of these. So for these reasons, please go ahead and pass this motion.
Mr. President. Mr. Reporter.
I think this is a great motion. Being able to see these tractors getting put together and what work requires and everything that they do to these tractors will be a great learning experience for us and the FFA members to learn. Please get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
I'm against this motion. I don't think that our FFA chapters should be focusing on this. We have other things that we have to look forward to in our chapter. So for these reasons, please get behind me and vote down on this motion.
Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Reporter.
I move to amend the motion by adding the words going to national convention at the end.
Second motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to amend the main motion by adding the words going to national convention at the end. If the amendment passes, the main motion will read that our chapter tour the Case IH plant in Fargo going to national convention. Is there any debate?
Mr. President,
Mr. Reporter.
I think this would be a great idea to do this because we're going to Fargo anyways. We're going to Fargo to go to national convention anyways. So why wouldn't we tour it then? We don't even have to take a bus from our own. We don't have to just schedule around to take a new bus. Just go during national. For these reasons, please get behind me and pass this amendment.
Mr. President.
Madam Secretary.
I am against this motion. We already have our itinerary planned out and everything that we're supposed to be doing, and this would not go well into our itinerary with everything that we have planned out. So I have there's no reason why we should stop for something that we haven't even planned out. Please help me fail this amendment.
Mr. President,
Madam Sentinel.
I hate this amendment. We don't have very many people from our chapter going to nationals, and I think that our entire chapter should be allowed to go to this tractor assembly. I'm not even going to nationals, and I would like to go to this Case IH. So for these reasons, please fail this amendment.
Mr. President, I move previous question.
Second motion.
Previous question has been called. There is no debate. It requires a 2/3 majority vote. We will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of moving previous question, please rise. May be seated, Secretary, please record 1. All those opposed to previous question, please rise. You may be seated, Secretary, please record 4. Previous question fails. Is there any further discussion on the amendment?
Mr. President,
Mr. Treasurer.
I love this amendment. I think that not only our chapter would be in favor of this, but all the other chapters on the bus that we're taking to nationals would be in favor of this, because a lot of them are involved with the tractor stuff too. So they'd like to stop here and visit, and we have a couple hours to kill on our way there. So for these things, please go in and pass this amendment.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
I'm against this amendment. I don't think that our chapter would want to stop at this. I think they'd be wanting just to get the nationals and get in their room and situated and all that stuff. For these reasons, please get behind me and vote down this amendment.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Discussion? Discussion. We'll now proceed to vote on the amendment that adds the words "on the way to National Convention" at the end of the main motion. If the amendment passes, the main motion will read that our chapter tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo on the way to National Convention. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
The amendment fails.
Division.
Division has been called. We will now proceed to vote by standing on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, please rise. Thank you. You may be seated, Secretary. Please record 2. All those opposed to the amendment, please rise. Thank you. You may be seated, Secretary. Please record 3. The amendment fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion? Discussion? Discussion. We'll now proceed to vote on the main motion. All those in favor that we tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
The motion passes. The motion is now adopted. We will tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo.
Mr. President,
Mr. Treasurer.
I move that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects.
Second motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our SAEs. Is there any debate?
Mr. President,
Mr. Treasurer.
I love this motion. I think picking a member to do this is going to let them show off their SAE, and this will maybe even promote other members and just show the community what we're doing within our chapter. So for these reasons, please get me and pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I am in favor of this motion. This is a really great motion. I would love to show off my SAE of equine science to show everyone my knowledge about horses and maybe get some people to actually learn a little bit more about horses. So I really love this motion. I encourage you all to please get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Reporter.
I think this is a great motion. My SAE is about snow removal and everything to do with our skid steers. This would be a great way to get my name out there and to get a little more business to come. For these reasons, please get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President.
I'm in favor of this motion. I think that it's a good thing that I show off my SAE in my lawn mowing business. I think that it can maybe give me some more jobs too. And plus, you get a free T-shirt at the end of this. So for these reasons, please get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Madam Sentinel.
I'm against this motion. Who's going to be the one to post all of our SAEs on there? Are we going to do it ourselves, or are we going to have to rely on our advisor to do this for us? So I think we need to sit down and think about this a little bit. So for these reasons, please stay on this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reporter.
I move to have a pancake feed.
Second motion.
I move to withdraw my motion.
Motion has been withdrawn. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Treasurer.
I still love this motion. I think getting this out there and posting this on social media is going to help us, even just to show the community how many different things we do and how many different ones there are that you can do. There's not just 1 or 2 of them that you can do. There's plenty. So for these reasons, please go ahead and pass this motion.
Mr.
Madam
President,
Secretary.
I am still in favor of this motion. It will show our community how involved our FFA chapter is in our SAEs and how much we care about them. And this would be a great way to show all the different types of SAEs that everyone can do. And maybe we'll learn a lot more. Maybe we'll get some more FFA members in our chapter. Please help me pass this motion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President.
I move to have a 5-minute recess to take a bathroom break.
Second motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we take a 5-minute recess for bathroom breaks. There is no debate. We will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of taking a 5-minute recess for bathroom breaks, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Motion fails. We will not take a bathroom break.
Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President.
I am still in favor of this motion. I think that it's a good idea to get my name out there and to get other FFA members' names out there. I think it would promote our FFA chapter and show that our FFA members are hardworking people.
For these reasons, please get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reporter.
I still think this is an awesome idea. I would be willing to take 5 or 10 minutes just to post some things out there so the community can end up finding out what I'm doing at that time and what I'm doing, what I'm planning on doing. For these reasons, please get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Madam Sentinel.
I'm not in favor of this motion. I, for one, love my SAE and would love to show the younger kids in our FFA chapter what an SAE is and what they can, and all the possibilities that they could do to have an SAE. Farm kids or city kids, it doesn't matter. They can each have their own SAE. So for these reasons, please pass this motion.
Is there any further discussion on the
Mr.
main motion?
President.
Madam Secretary.
I move to lay this motion on the table.
Second the motion.
It's been properly moved and
I'd
seconded.
like to parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
The Senate table require 2/3 or majority vote.
It requires a majority vote. It's been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table. All those in favor of laying the motion on the table that states our chapter posts a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our SAEs, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Laying the table passes. Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any unfinished business?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which may properly be presented? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Fessenden-Bowdon FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this meeting adjourned.
Are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The chaplain.
Station by the bell.
Your duties there?
It is my duty to ensure that our membership be mindful of the need for spiritual development, and it is my responsibility to provide for a spiritual presence in the development of our membership and foster positive and moral participation in the activities of our chapter and the lives of our members.
The historian.
Stationed at the chapter scrapbook.
Your duties there?
Tradition and history are a source of pride for our organization. My duty to maintain a record of chapter achievements and promote excellence through highlighting activities, events, and accomplishments, so that our chapter membership is motivated by our past successes and looks to future achievements.
The parliamentarian.
Hereby a copy of Robert's Rules of Order.
What are your duties there?
I serve as an advisor and consultant to the President and members on procedural matters. I keep in my possession a copy of Robert's Rules of Order, our Constitution and bylaws, and the official FFA manual. It is my duty to see that parliamentary procedure is carried on efficiently.
The sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization which reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve our country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here, by the owl.
Why by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is the symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings of our president, I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
Mr. President, there is 9 members and 1 advisor present.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. FFA members, why are we here?
Practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA membership possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the Wyndmere FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Is there any new business?
Mr. President?
The chair recognizes the parliamentarian.
I just want to say that I had a really
I
good
call for the
time.
orders of the day.
The orders of the day have been called for. Mr. Secretary, what are the orders of the day?
Mr. President, the orders of the day are chapter industry tour and chapter promotion.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We will proceed with the orders of the day. Is there any new business?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I move that our chapter tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that our chapter tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I believe that this would be a very good idea for our chapter because touring the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant will really give our members a sense of, give them a better knowledge of where this machinery comes from that we use in the fields around. So I encourage everybody to vote for this one.
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I disagree with the previous speaker. I think that this would not be a great idea. This would cause for our members to have another thing on their plate during this busy time where we have football and volleyball going, as well with all of our other FFA competitions. So please vote down on this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I think this is a great idea. I think that it's great for our members to get out and see some of the industries that are available in agriculture and learn some of the things that they can be doing in the future in an agricultural employment. So I encourage my voters to vote for this motion.
Mr.
The
President,
chair recognizes the sentinel.
I disagree with the previous speaker. I don't think we should waste our time going to Fargo and seeing this industry tour because I think we could use our time in a better way. So please vote down this motion. Mr.
The
President,
chair recognizes the treasurer.
I think this motion is a very good idea. I think this would really open the eyes to some of our members who don't really get exposed to machinery that often. So this would be a really good way to open their eyes to new things. So please vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I move that we amend the main motion by striking out the words Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo and inserting the word Wyndmere Community Museum.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we amend the main motion by striking out the words Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo and inserting the words Wyndmere Museum, so that the new main motion states that we tour the Wyndmere Museum. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I believe that this is a really bad idea because the Wyndmere Museum is very small, and if we spent the whole day touring the Wyndmere Museum, we would pretty much be done. We'd go around that thing like 100 times. So I think it'd be way more beneficial for our members to tour the tractor assembly plant. So I encourage everybody to vote down this amendment.
Mr.
The
President.
chair recognizes the reporter.
I disagree with the previous speaker. Like I stated earlier, I thought this would be a great idea. This would provide for our students and our members to learn about our Wyndmere heritage and know where we come from, which would be greatly beneficial to our members. So please vote in favor of this amendment.
Mr.
The
President,
chair recognizes the treasurer.
I agree with the previous speaker. I think this would be a very great idea to bring our members to the museum. It would give them a great opportunity to see a little bit of history in our town, and it would really just help our members keep in touch. So please vote in favor of this amendment.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I do not think this would be a beneficial experience for our members. FFA is about gaining vocational knowledge and learning about future careers in agriculture. So that's why I do not think touring the Wyndmere Museum would give them that experience. That's why I encourage my voters to vote down this motion.
Mr.
The
President,
chair recognizes the sentinel.
I disagree with the previous speaker. I think we should tour the Wyndmere Museum because it wouldn't take that long to get everybody into one place, and everybody's just there already in Wyndmere. So please vote yes on this amendment.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I call for previous question on all pending matters.
Second.
The previous question has been called for. Mr. Secretary, please assist me in the vote count. Shall we proceed with the previous question? All those in favor, please rise. You may be seated. All those opposed, please rise. You may be seated. Mr. Secretary, what is the vote count?
There is 7 for and 1 against.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The ayes have it and the motion passes. We will proceed with the previous question. We will now proceed to vote on the amendment that states that we strike out the words tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo and inserting the words Wyndmere Heritage Museum so that the new main motion states that we tour the Wyndmere Heritage Museum. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
The ayes have it and the motion passes. We will amend the main motion. We will now proceed to vote on the main motion that states that we tour the Wyndmere Heritage Museum. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No. I call for division of the House.
The division has been called. Mr. Secretary, please assist me in the vote count. All those in favor of touring the Wyndmere Heritage Museum, please rise. You may be seated. All those opposed, please rise. You may be seated. Mr. Secretary, what is the vote count?
It was 6-4 and 2 against.
The ayes have it and the motion passes. We will tour the Wyndmere Heritage Museum. Is there any new business?
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I move that we sell our chapter minibus.
Second.
I withdraw my main motion.
The motion has been withdrawn. Is there any new business?
Mr.
The
President,
chair recognizes the treasurer.
I move that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects. Is there any discussion? The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I think this would be a very great idea to highlight what good work our members have been doing, and it would also encourage other members who aren't participating in SAEs to participate in them and help our chapter keep working. So please vote in favor of this motion.
Mr.
The
President,
chair recognizes the secretary.
I as well believe that this would be a very good idea because it will give our members a little bit of an incentive to keep up on their SAE projects, and it also will give ideas to other people who don't have SAE projects. It might give them an idea of something they might like to start. So I encourage everybody to vote for this motion.
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I agree with the previous speaker. I think that this would be a fabulous idea. It would allow our members to have essentially of pride when they're completing their SAE projects. This would allow them to be able to show off what they're doing in their job during the summer or during the whole entire year as well. So please vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I too think this is a great idea because it is important that we support our state chapter and that we better our SAE in our chapter alone. So that's why I encourage my voters to vote for this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the sentinel.
I agree with the previous speaker. I think this is a great idea because we can, this allows for other members to get recognized and for our other members to know what the other people are doing with their SAE projects. So please vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
Like I said before, I'm in favor of this motion because our social media right now is not being used for very much other than posting pictures of events. So I think this would be a really good use of our social media pages by getting the members' faces out there and getting their projects out there for all the other chapters and all the other members to see. So I encourage everybody to really vote for this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I think that this would be a great idea to do again because our SAE in our chapter alone right now isn't doing the greatest for some of the non-officers. And so that's why I think if our officers start with posting our SAEs bi-weekly, that we can build a bigger development of our SAE in our chapter as a whole and make it a great thing in our chapter. So that's why I encourage my voters to vote for this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I agree with the previous speaker that this would be a great idea because this would also not only give our members an idea of what to do for their SAE, but also other chapters other ideas to complete as well. So please vote in favor of this motion.
Mr.
The
President,
chair recognizes the treasurer.
I also think this is a great idea because as we see the state FFA posting on their Instagram page, they give us all ideas to work on our SAEs. So if it's statewide, why don't we even have a local one that will help our members just keep pushing and get their SAEs working and get their work done. So please vote in favor of this motion.
Is there any discussion? Discussion? Discussion. Hearing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of posting a bi-weekly SAE social media shout-out to highlight our members' SAE projects, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
The ayes have it and the motion passes. We will post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on our social media to highlight our members' SAE projects. Mr. Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Wyndmere FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned.
The meeting will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Killdeer FFA chapter. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duty is there.
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see the doors open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The Reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Treasurer.
Stationed by the emblem of Washington.
Your duty's there.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duty's there.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The Advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Madam Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 10 members, 1 advisor, and numerous guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To practice
brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA membership possess.
May we accomplish our purposes, I now declare this meeting of the Killdeer FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which should probably be presented. Is there any further business?
Mr. President,
The Vice President.
I move that we grow a garden in winter.
Second.
I call for the orders of the day. Orders of the day have been called. Madam Secretary, what are the orders of the day?
The orders of the day are pertaining to tractor industry tour and the tractor promotion.
These are the orders of the day. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we will follow them. What are the wishes of the groups concerning these topics?
Mr. President,
The Secretary.
I move that our tractor tour the Case IH tour tractor assembly plant in Fargo.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that our chapter tour the Case IH tractor assembly factory in Fargo. Is there any discussion on this main motion?
Mr. President.
Secretary.
This is a great motion because Killdeer is a very agricultural-based community, and I, however, am not from Killdeer, so I do not have the same knowledge that you guys do, and I feel that by touring this tractor assembly, it will allow me to gain the knowledge that all of you fellow officers have too. So please vote for this motion.
Mr. President, I'm firmly against this motion. I do not choose Case IH on my farms. I am a John Deere girl, and I have definitely seen my dad take apart our John Deere tractor so many times, and I know how to put it back together. And definitely, I think that Fargo is way too far away. That's like a 5-hour drive. I get car sick so easily. I do not want to travel all that way just to watch a tractor get put together, especially a KHIA's. So please vote yes, no for this motion.
Mr. President,
reporter.
I stand against this motion. I think that touring a tractor assembly plant might be a good idea, but why Case IH? Case IH is the rival of John Deere, and John Deere actually supports is a star partner of FFA, so I don't know why we would be touring Case IH when we might have an opportunity to tour John Deere. So I encourage you to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President. Vice President.
I stand firmly against this motion. A majority of our membership is made up of girls, and I don't think they would be interested in touring a tractor assembly plant. Fargo's a long ways away, and I don't think it'd be worth our while to drive all the way there when our students aren't even interested. So I ask you to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President. The Treasurer. I do not stand for this motion. Case IH is obviously the lowest rating tractor dealer there is out there. So why do we go to that? Choose John Deere, choose anywhere else. Because we should not go to Case IH. I ask you all to vote down this motion.
I move to amend the motion by striking out Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo and inserting John Deere Factory.
Second. It has been properly moved and second that we amend the motion by striking out Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo and inserting John Deere. Is there any discussion on this amendment?
Mr. President,
Order.
I think that this is a way better idea. John Deere is a star partner of FFA, and they actually really support us. And it's a great idea because we are in an agricultural community, so it's definitely something that could interest a lot of our members. So please vote for this motion.
Mr. President. Vice President.
I stand against this amendment. Do we even know if there's a John Deere factory in Fargo? And I don't think there is. So if it's not even there, why should we be going there? I think it's just a waste of our time to consider this amendment. So please vote no.
Mr. President. Secretary.
I agree with the previous speaker. And just like you guys said, John Deere is a major factory. And what if they don't want a whole bunch of FFA students just roaming around their factory? And some of us can be very irresponsible. And I feel that by going to the Case IH tractor assembly, it will allow us to actually have a destination of where we're going, so we don't have to investigate where the nearest John Deere factory is. So please vote down this amendment.
Mr. President, I am for this amendment. As I said before, I'm a John Deere girl, and I know my way around a tractor. I think it'll be really interesting to talk with the people that work there and see how they get those beasts running for us. So please vote yes for this amendment.
Mr. President.
The Treasurer.
I am also in favor of this motion. It's a well amended motion. John Deere's a lot better producer, better dealer, has more products, so I feel like going to John Deere would be a lot more beneficial than going to Case IH. Please vote in favor of this motion.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Discussion. All those in favor of amending the motion by striking out Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo and inserting John Deere, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
Ayes have it, motion passes. We will amend the motion.
I call for division of the House.
Division of the House has been called. All those in favor of amending the motion, please rise. Thank you, be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Thank you, be seated. Seeing that we have 3 in the affirmative and 2 in the negative, we will amend the motion. Is there any further discussion on the newly amended motion?
Mr. President,
the Vice President.
I move previous question.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and second, and then we move previous question. All those in favor of moving previous question, please rise. Thank you, be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Thank you, be seated. Seeing that we have 3 in the affirmative and 2 in the negative, we will move previous question on all pending matters. All those in favor of touring the John Deere plant, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
No.
Ayes have it, motion passes. Our chapter will tour the John Deere plant. Is there any further business?
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I move that the livestock production class tour the meats facility in Halliday.
Second.
It has been probably moved and second that the livestock production class tour the meats facility in Halliday. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I ask permission to withdraw my motion.
Second.
A withdrawal has been called. Is there any objections? Seeing none, motion is withdrawn. Is there any further business?
Mr. President.
The Treasurer.
I move that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects.
Second.
It has been probably moved and second that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE project on social media to highlight our chapter's SAE projects. Is there any discussion on this main motion?
Mr. President.
The Treasurer.
This is a motion that should be passed. SAEs are pretty difficult, and by giving this a little boost, it'll make people really want to do them, and it's just like kind of a little reward for doing them. So I ask everyone to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I stand firmly in favor of this motion. An SAE is part of our 3-circle model in agricultural education, and I think this is a great way for us to highlight our students' SAEs. Our students work hard, and it's time for us to show their hard work to our community. So I ask you to vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President, I am for this motion. I definitely think that posting this, we will definitely be showing our community how committed we are to agriculture. And I know that I am so proud of those fellow members who have finished their SAE. So please vote yes for this motion.
Mr. President, I have an SAE, but I'm one of the few in the FFA chapter. I know that if we do this bi-weekly and have a spotlight media on them, we're just not going to have enough to keep doing this throughout the year. So maybe towards the end of the year would be a better option, but right now is not the time to be doing this, so I encourage you to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I agree with the previous speaker because I, however, don't have an SAE, so I won't be able to participate in this chapter promotion. And I know that a lot of our chapter members don't, and so it'll just be a waste, not a waste of time, but it won't be worthwhile with not having as many chapter members as we'd like to have an SAE, so please vote down this motion.
I ask your parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What vote is needed to pass the main motion?
It is a majority vote. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President.
The Vice President.
I move to recess for 10 minutes.
Second. It has been properly moved and second that we recess for 10 minutes. Are there any amendments? Amendments. All those in favor of recessing, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Noes have it, motion fails. We will not take a recess. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
President.
The Treasurer.
Yeah, this motion should pass. There's no reason it shouldn't. SAEs are very difficult. I mean, it's really time consuming. And by doing this, like I said before, it's really gonna make people really want to do them, and really show that we respect them for doing that for our organizations. Please vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President, once again I stand in favor of this motion. By having this SAE spotlight, we can show our community members what the future of agriculture looks with our young members in hands. And I think this is a great way for us to really reward those members for all their hard work. So I ask you to vote yes to this motion.
Mr. President, I am still for this motion. This is a great way for us to show our community how much we put into this chapter. And I definitely think that showing off our accomplishment is a great way to encourage, like the treasurer said, our other members who do SAEs, because they are very time consuming. But if you are willing to put in that effort, you might be able to be shown off on the Facebook page. So please vote yes for this motion.
Mr. President, I stand against the previous speaker. I don't think that having a spotlight is necessarily going to bring us quality SAEs. They might just fill out the form just to get on the spotlight page, but that doesn't mean we're going to have a quality SAE. It might just be thrown together really fast, and it's not going to be what we want in an SAE, and they might not put the actual effort that we need. So I urge the Assembly to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I am not for this motion because, as I previously stated, not all of our chapter members have an SAE, and maybe we can find another way that will reward it, that will involve all of our chapter members and not just a select few. So please vote down this motion.
Is there any further discussion on this motion?
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I move to, with saying that we have more urgent items to attend to, I move to lay this motion on the table.
Second.
It has been probably moved and second that we lay this motion on the table. All those in favor of laying this motion on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Ayes have it, motion passes. We will lay this motion on the table. Is there any further business? Business. Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have no further business, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should now come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Killdeer FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in our labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. FFA members and guests, join in the salute to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned.
Yes, comes FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there.
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that this door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The Reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the Ear of Corn.
Your duties there.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries, wherever corn is going and FFA members meet.
The Advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is the symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is the token of a new era in agriculture. If we follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 7 members and 7 guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA membership possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Mr. Secretary, what is the first order of business?
New business, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which may properly be presented?
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I move that our chapter tour the Case IH chapter assembly plan in Fargo.
Second.
It has been probably moved and seconded that our chapter tour the Case IH plant in Fargo. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Secretary.
since most of the people in FFA work on farms and have to deal with tractors, and a lot of people have Case IH, so seeing how they were built, if they did break down, this would give us a way better chance to learn how to fix them and how to deal with them. Therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Vice President.
as a case farmer myself and working on the farm, I would love to tour the case plant in Fargo and just to see how they're made, just to learn all about that. That'd just be so interesting to me. I think it'd be a great experience for all of our officers, all of them to be able to tour that. Therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President.
Zeno.
I just think that this would be a terrible thing to do because Case is not a very good brand and everything is just terrible about Case. Me, being a John Deere person myself, I'm not for this going to tour a Case farm. So I encourage you to vote against this motion.
Mr. President,
Order.
I move to amend this motion by adding on October 24th.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded we amend the main motion so we tour the plant on October 24th. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Order.
I know for a fact that this day is not a busy day for all of us. There's no other events going on. And having it being sooner, it should be a little warmer than if we do it later. And we'll probably be walking outside, therefore, that's why I think we should do it this day. I urge you all to vote in favor of this amendment.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing no further discussion, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of amending the main motion so we tour the Case IH tractor plant in Fargo on October 24th, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion fails. We will now amend the main motion. Any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I wish to speak in favor of this motion. Being a Case farmer, or having a Case, I really like Case, and I think going and touring a Case plant in Fargo would be a great opportunity for the whole officer team and the members of our FFA chapter. It gives us a good bonding experience, and we get to see how tractors were made. Therefore, I encourage all you members to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I strongly agree with the previous speaker. I spoke to many of our members of our chapter, and they all said that they really like Case, and they said it'd be very interesting for them to go into this plant. Therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Order.
I'm against this motion. I know that this would probably be hard to get all of our members involved in this. Maybe taking a day off of school would be kind of difficult to do that. And growing up in town, I'm not really interested in tractors and stuff like that. Therefore, I urge you all to vote against this motion.
Mr. President.
Vice President.
I think this would look very good on our POA. This is part of our POA too, to get out there and do stuff. And touring the Case plant, that would just be a great experience for our whole chapter. And even if you're not into tractors and that stuff, there's still stuff to be learned and stuff to be had from this experience. Therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President.
Treasurer.
I call for orders of the day.
Orders of the day has been called for. We will follow the orders of the day.
Mr. President.
Vice President.
I move the previous question.
Previous question has been moved. All those in favor of moving previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion fails. We will now move to previous question. Any further business on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Sentinel.
I just think that most of the members in our chapter are girls and they are interested in tractors and stuff. they're more interested in stuff like flowers, so they aren't going to want to go look at a bunch of tractors all day and learn how they're made. So I encourage you to vote against this motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I firmly disagree with the previous speaker. I know lots of girls that love case and love farming, so we should bring them to this trip too, so they also know how the tractors are made. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Any further discussion on the main motion? Seeing no further discussion, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of the Maddock FFA chapter touring the Case IH tractor plant in Fargo, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion passes.
Division of Assembly.
Division of the Assembly has been called for. All those in favor of the Maddock FFA chapter touring the Case IH tractor plant in Fargo, please rise. May be seated. All opposed, please rise. May be seated. 3-2, motion passes. We will tour the Case IH tractor plant in Fargo. Any other new business?
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I move that our chapter post a bi-weekly essay spotlight on social media, highlight our members and SAE projects.
Second.
It has been probably moved and saying that we post a bi-weekly social media of SAE SAE people in our chapter. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I believe this is a great idea. We have so many people with so many different SAEs, and not many people know what they are. So if we put them on social media, we get more people to understand what our SAE is all about. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I strongly agree with the maker of this motion. Many people have social media these days because we're so advanced in technology. So therefore, we'd be putting our chapter and our members out there in the world. So therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor.
Mr. President,
Order.
I move that we paint Mr. Wild's pickup yellow. Mr. President, I move to withdraw that motion.
Any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I'm strongly against this main motion. This is just kind of like floating their SAEs. I mean, who are you? I mean, this is just floating the SAEs, and I did not think this was a good idea to put it on social media. I'm sure it's good to have these SAEs and for yourself, but you do not need to go with this stuff.
Mr. President.
Sentinel.
This is not a good thing to do because there's many people in our chapter that don't have social media and their parents won't let them. So it's not going to benefit us much if there's only a few people doing it. So I encourage you to vote against this motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I firmly disagree with the previous speaker. I know many people who have social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and it's a great idea to get them out there, and if they don't, they can come to one of the officers to use it. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I am for this motion. I believe that it'd be a great idea to get our members to show off their SAEs, and maybe by other people seeing that on social media, they'd get more interested in the FFA and maybe think about joining it. Therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I move that we lay this item of business on the table.
Second.
It's been probably moved and saying we lay this item of business on the table. There's no discussion, so we will not proceed to vote. All those in favor of laying this item of business on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion failed. We will not lay this item of business on the table.
Mr. President.
Sentinel.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Doesn't lay on the table requires a 2/3 vote.
No, according to Robert's Rules of Orders, lay on the table requires a voice vote.
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I move that we recess for 10 minutes.
Second.
It has been probably moved and saying we recess for 10 minutes. Are there any amendments? Seeing no amendments, we will not proceed to vote. All those in favor of recessing for 10 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion fails. We will not recess for 10 minutes. Any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Order.
I am still for this motion. I think that people would like to show off their SAEs on social media, and I don't think it's a problem for people not having social media, because I know a lot of the people in our chapter do have social media. So this would be a great way to show off their SAEs. Therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I know for a fact that many members in our chapter need to work on their SAEs, and if we post them on social media, that means they will try to make them as best as they possibly can. Therefore, I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I'm not in favor of this motion. I mean, it says bi-weekly. We have to do it once every 2 weeks. You know what kind of time and effort that takes? I know for a fact I don't have that kind of time. And I'm not in favor of this motion. Therefore, I urge you all to vote against it.
Mr. President.
Sentinel.
I agree with the previous speaker. This is going to take up a lot of our time, and we don't have that much time in our A classes, and we'd rather be working on projects and stuff. And also, again, I don't have social media, so it's going to be very tough to do this. So I encourage you to vote against this motion.
Any further discussion on the main motion? Seeing no further discussion, we will not proceed to vote. All those in favor of the Maddock FFA chapter setting up a social media account for our SAEs, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion passes. We will set up a social media account for our SAE in our chapter. Any other new business? Mr. Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which may probably be transacted?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which may probably come before this meeting? As we are about to adjourn this meeting of the Maddock FFA chapter, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in salute to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned.
The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Hebron FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends to the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times, and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
Stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order, that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Treasurer.
Stationed at the Emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was very able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The Advisor.
Here, by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is oh boy. The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is the symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is the token of a new era in agriculture. If we follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 8 members, 2 advisors, and 7 guests present, Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? to
practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes, I now declare this meeting of the Hebron FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may be properly presented. Is there any further business?
Madam President.
The Vice President.
I move that the officer team eat at the Olive Garden.
I call for orders of the day.
The orders of the day have been called for. Madam Secretary, what are the orders of the day?
Chapter industry tour and chapter promotion.
Unless there is objection, we will follow the orders of the day. Are there any objections? Objections. Seeing none, we will follow the orders of the day. What are the wishes of the group concerning these topics?
Madam President.
The Secretary.
I move that our chapter tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo.
Second. It is moved and seconded that our chapter tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo. Is there any discussion?
Madam
President. The Secretary.
I'm in favor of this motion. Personally, I'm on the agronomy team, and part of our contest is to study the machinery, and I think this would be a great way for all of us to study and just have a good time with each other. So I encourage the Assembly to vote for the motion.
I'm against the motion. I think that we have a lot of people on our chapter, and I just feel like that this would be too much of a hassle for our advisor to keep track of all of us. So I urge you all to vote against this motion.
Madam President, I support this motion because even though there is a few of us, it's good for them to learn about this stuff and how it works. So I hope that you all support this motion.
Madam President, I disagree with the maker of this motion. Having our entire chapter tour this plant would just not be a great idea. Plus, we have sports going on, so I just don't know when we would find the time. We also have a national convention coming up that we need people that we have teams that need to study, so I encourage you all to vote down this motion.
Madam President,
Vice President.
I'm strongly in favor of this motion. I think that touring the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo would be a great idea for our chapter and to promote agriculture throughout our members. And hopefully, if there are members that don't know what they're going to do after high school, that touring this assembly plant would be a great option for giving them career intuition. So I encourage everybody to vote yes on this motion.
Madam President,
the reporter.
I move to amend the main motion by striking out chapter and inserting officers.
Second! It is moved and seconded to amend the main motion by striking out chapter and inserting officers, but the full motion states our officers tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The reporter.
I am in favor of this amendment. I think that our officer team would benefit most by touring this tractor assembly plant in Fargo, so I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam President. Secretary.
I rise in opposition to this amendment. I think that we should give equal opportunity to our entire chapter just as we do our officers, so I encourage the Assembly to vote against this amendment.
Madam
Vice President.
I'm also strongly opposed to this amendment. We do a lot for our officers and a lot of fun, and we just spend a lot of money on them, on the officers ourselves. So I think that allowing the chapter members to come and tour this facility would be a great opportunity for all of our members. So I encourage everybody to vote no on the amendment.
Madam President, the Treasurer.
I am in favor of this amendment. By sending our officers, this would enable them to get more learning experience within themselves, and this would just be a much more responsible group to bring along on these things. So I encourage you all to vote yes on this amendment.
Madam President.
The Sentinel.
I stand with this amendment because most of the agronomy kids are officers, so it would be good for them to come, even though the whole team isn't going. It would be good for a few to go. So I hope that you all support this amendment.
Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The Vice President.
I move the previous question on all pending matters.
Second. It is moved and seconded to move the previous question all pending matters. All those in favor of moving the previous question all pending matters, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. With 7 in the affirmative and 0 in the negative, we will move the previous question all pending matters. We are now on the vote of the amendment that states we strike out the word chapter and insert the word officers so that the full motion reads, our officers tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo. All those in favor of this amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the amendment passes.
Division.
A division has been called for, therefore we will bring this to a rising vote. All those in favor of striking out the word chapter and inserting the word officers, so our full motion reads, the officers tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. With 3 in the affirmative and 4 in the negative, the amendment fails. We are now on the vote of the main motion that states our chapter tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo. All those in favor of this main motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the main motion passes. Our chapter will tour the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo. Is there any further business?
Madam
The
President,
reporter.
I move that our chapter plant a garden for the park.
Is there a second?
Madam President,
The reporter.
I withdraw my motion.
The motion is withdrawn. Is there any further business?
Madam President,
The treasurer.
I move that the chapter host a bi-weekly SAA spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects.
Second! It is moved and seconded that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects. Is there any discussion?
Madam
The
President,
treasurer.
I'm strongly in favor of this motion. I have an SAE myself, and by getting my name out there and allowing the entire state to see what I do would just be awesome. So I just think this would be a great way to promote our chapter and allow everyone to see what difference we're making in our community. So please get behind me and vote yes on this motion.
Madam President, the secretary.
I can definitely lend my support to this motion. Our chapter actually has an Instagram account that we use regularly, and this would be a great way to showcase to our members and to people who are watching our FFA chapter what we are doing and what good we are doing for our community. So I encourage the assembly to vote for the motion.
Madam
President. Reporter.
I'm against this motion. I think that as an 8th grader, we don't get to do much things concerning our chapter, so I don't think it would be fair to only post the SAE projects, which only the older kids get to do. So I urge you all to vote against this motion.
Madam President,
Vice President.
I move to recess for 5 minutes.
Second! It is moved and seconded to recess for 5 minutes. The motion to recess is not debatable but is amendable. Are there any amendments? Amendments. Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of recessing for 5 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and the motion to recess is lost. We will not recess for 5 minutes. We are back in the discussion of the main motion. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Sentinel.
I stand against this motion because this only highlights the members with USAEs, which are usually just officers. So why should we spotlight only a few members? So I hope that you all vote down this motion.
Madam President.
Secretary.
I'm still in favor of this motion. Our members are going to feel extra special if we feature their SAE and all the hard work that they've done on our Instagram page. So I encourage the assembly to vote for the motion.
Madam
Vice
President,
President.
I'm strongly in favor of this motion. We want to promote our chapter, so this would be a great way to promote our chapter, and we could possibly get a lot of recruitment out of promoting our chapter through our SAEs to show them what it is that we're doing with agriculture in the FFA. So I encourage everybody to vote yes on this motion.
Madam President. The reporter.
I'm still against this motion. I feel like it would be only highlighting the SAE projects, and like I said before, the younger members don't get to do them. So I just feel like this would be unfair. So I urge you all to vote against this motion.
Madam President. The treasurer.
I am still in favor of this motion. Although the younger members might not be able to have an SAE yet, in the future they will have one, and so this would just be a great way to recognize all of them. Because our chapter doesn't really do anything to recognize our SAE, the ones who spent all their time doing this, so I just think this would be a great way to do it. Plus it'd be another thing to add to our Instagram page. So please get behind me and vote yes on this motion.
Madam President.
The Sentinel.
I disagree with the previous speaker because this might be good, or some might see it good, but you're taking away room on the media page, which we can be using for showing what we accomplished, like as in winning awards and stuff. So why should we just put SAEs in its place? So I hope that you all vote down this motion.
Madam
The
President.
Vice President.
After hearing the debates of the Sentinel and Reporter, I've changed my viewpoint on the subject. I think that that having the SAE projects on social media is a rather selfish act, and we should focus more of our attention on actually doing the SAEs, studying for contests, and focusing on national convention that's coming up within this month. So I encourage everybody to vote no on this motion.
I raise the parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What kind of vote does it take to pass a lay on the table?
A majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
The secretary.
being that we have more pressing matters to attend to, I move to lay this motion on the table.
Second. It is moved and seconded to lay this motion on the table. The motion to lay on the table is not debatable or amendable. All those in favor of laying this motion on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the motion passes. We will lay this motion on the table. Is there any further business? Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Madam President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Hebron FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, please join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this meeting adjourned.
come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the MAX FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their station, report back to you, Madam President. A sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there.
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people, in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands, and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the Emblem of Washington.
Your duties there.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom, being older than has to be amassed from time to time as need rest. I hope that my advice will be based on true knowledge and reckoning with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, what is the plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. The plow is a symbol of labor or tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge or wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization, and preside over meetings in absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is a token in a new era of agriculture. If we follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of darkness of selfishness into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their station.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 8 members and numerous guests present, Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the MAX FFA chapter duly open to the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Is there any further business?
Madam President.
Madam Secretary.
I move that our chapter tour the Case IH tractor assembly plant in Fargo.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter tour the Case IH assembly plant in Fargo. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Madam Secretary.
Being the maker of this motion, I believe it is an exquisite idea to tour the Case IH tractor plant. This will provide a learning opportunity for our members, and it will just provide the nuts and bolts of what tractor assembling is. Therefore, I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam President.
Mr. Reporter.
Although I think this is a good motion, Fargo is really far away from us, and how do we even know that Case IH is going to let us tour their assembly plant? So everyone, vote no.
Madam President.
Mr. Vice President.
This is a great idea. Touring the Case IH plant, the Case IH is known to be the best tractor and the best harvesting equipment ever made. So this will be great and beneficial for our chapter, and it'll be a good experience and be a good learning experience for us. So track it down to Fargo and vote yes on this motion.
Madam President.
Mr. Sentinel.
I think this is a horrible idea because why would we want to go watch equipment that always needs to be fixed on because it's always broke down? We should go somewhere where they build actual quality equipment, so vote yes.
Madam President.
Madam Treasurer.
I urge you all to vote no with me. We don't even know how many of our chapter members are going to be attending this, and we do not know the cost. Are we going to have to pay for them to bus down there, or is the school going to pay with this? So I urge you all to vote no with me.
Madam President.
Mr. Vice President.
I move the previous question.
Second.
The previous question has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of ordering the previous question, please rise. Be seated. Those opposed, rise. Be seated. With less than 2/3 in the affirmative, the previous question is lost. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Madam President,
Mr. Sentinel.
this is a horrible idea because on our way to nationals, we're already touring the John Deere Quality Equipment Factory. So why would we schedule 2 equipment manufacturer assembly lines? So vote no on this motion.
Madam President.
Mr. Reporter.
I move to amend the main motion by adding the words on October 12th.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded to amend the main motion by adding the words on October 12th, so that if adopted, the main motion would read that our Chapter 2 at the Case IH Assembly Plant in Fargo on October 12th. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Mr. Reporter.
I think this amendment is a great idea. By adding on October 12th, we'll be able to give the tractor assembly plant a date that we want to tour their plant, so they're not all scrambled around when we just show up out of nowhere. So everyone vote yes on this amendment.
Madam President.
Madam Secretary.
This is a blasphemous amendment. On October 12th, I have a cross-country meet, and we also have an FFA meeting. With so many people that can't attend, would this even really make sense to be doing this on October 12th? I think not, so vote no.
Madam President.
Madam Treasurer.
This amendment is ridiculous. Being that it is in Fargo, we will probably have to stay the night, and the next date is Friday the 13th, and there is a new movie coming out that most of us would want to go and attend, so I urge you all to vote no.
Discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of amending the main motion by adding the words on October 12th, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
No.
The ayes have it, the motion passes, and we will amend the main motion by adding the words on October 12th.
Division.
A division of the House has been called for. We will now proceed to vote by other means. All those in favor of amending the main motion by adding it on October 12th, please rise. Be seated. Those opposed, rise. Be seated. With 2 in the affirmative and 3 in the negative, the noes have it, the amendment fails, and we will not add on October 12th to the main motion. Is there any further discussion to the main motion, which states that our Chapter 2 of the Case IH Assembly Plant in Fargo?
Madam President.
Mr. Vice President.
This is a great idea. We are currently in our ag mechanics class at school. We are rebuilding a Case tractor, and this will help us get our knowledge and build this tractor right. So vote yes on this motion.
Discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of touring the Case IH Assembly Plant in Fargo, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
No.
The noes have it, the motion fails, and we will not tour the Case IH Assembly Plant in Fargo. Is there any further business?
Madam President.
Madam Secretary.
I move that we self-clarify.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we self-clarify. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of selling clarify, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
No.
The noes have it, and the motion fails. We will not self-clarify. Is there any further business?
Madam President.
Madam Treasurer.
I move that the chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our members' SAE projects.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our chapter's SAE projects. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Madam Treasurer.
I think by posting a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media is a great idea. This will help the people in our chapter who have entrepreneurship, because I have one and I would like to promote my entrepreneurship more, so everyone vote yes with me on this motion.
Madam President.
Mr. Reporter.
I rise in opposition of this motion. Being a reporter, I have to submit many articles throughout the month, and by adding this SAE spotlight to the agenda, I'm not going to be able to get through all these things in 1 month. So everyone vote no.
Madam
President.
Madam Secretary.
I believe that this is a spectacular idea. SAE is one part of FFA as an intercurricular class, and I think that by promoting these SAEs, it will be great business for our members. So I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam President.
Mr. Sentinel.
This is a horrible idea because there are only 10 members that have really, really good SAEs, so that would only give us 5 weeks of social media highlights, so vote no.
Madam President.
Mr. Vice President.
This is a great idea. Putting the students' SAEs in the bi-weekly, it will give them a sense to promote their SAE and improve, which will be helping them out. So vote yes on this motion.
Madam President.
Mr. Sentinel.
This is a horrible idea because most of the members' SAEs take place during the summer, so we would have to gather the information up during the summer, and gather pictures and stuff, and nobody wants to work on it during the summer because we all have summer vacation and we have plans, so vote no.
Madam President,
Mr. Reporter.
this motion is a horrible idea. I personally don't want my SAE on the SAE spotlight because I don't want people to know how my SAE is going. This is just a horrible idea, so everyone vote no with me.
Madam President,
Madam Secretary.
I have changed my stance on this motion. I now believe it is a bad idea because not everyone has social media, and for those of us that don't, I don't think that this SAE spotlight will be very beneficial to our chapter at all. So fail this motion.
Madam President,
Madam Treasurer.
I think this is a spectacular idea. By doing this, we can show members on social media what we're doing for our SAEs. So I encourage you all to vote with me on this motion.
I will ask you a parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What vote is required to pass a recess?
A recess requires a majority vote to pass. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President,
Mr. Vice President.
I move we take a 10-minute recess.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we take a 10-minute recess. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of taking a 10-minute recess, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
No.
The noes have it, the motion is lost, and we will not recess for 10 minutes. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President,
Mr. Vice President.
this is a really great idea, because getting our members out there, will teach them and help them like promote their SAE and get them out in public and get their name out there and just help them out in many ways. So vote yes.
Discussion.
Madam President,
Madam Secretary.
I move to lay this motion on the table.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to lay the motion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it, the motion passes, and we will lay this motion on the table. Is there any further business?
Madam President,
Mr. Reporter.
I move that our chapter have a summer fun day.
Second.
Madam President,
Mr. Reporter.
I withdraw the motion.
Motion withdrawn. Is there any further business? Is there any further business?
Madam President,
Madam Secretary.
I move that we self-platify.
Second.
I call for the orders of the day.
The orders of the day have been called for. We will now proceed to deal with the orders of the day dealing with announcements. Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should come before this meeting?
I have none, Madam President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the MAX FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this meeting adjourned.
The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Powers Lake FFA chapter. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel.
Station by the door.
Your duties there.
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the doors are open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I try to keep the room comfortable, assist the president in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands, from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties are
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
the advisor.
Hear about the owl.
Why by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice is always based on true knowledge and right thinking wisdom. Madam Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is the symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is the token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Madam Treasurer, as acting secretary, will you please call the roll of members?
There are 5 members, 1 advisor, and numerous guests present, Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To
Practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA membership possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the Powers Lake FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Madam Vice President.
I move our chapter get a Snapchat.
I call for the orders of the day.
Orders of the day has been called. Madam Treasurer, will you please read the orders of the day?
The orders of the day are we to discuss chapter industry tours and a chapter promotion.
Is there any objections to following the orders of the day? Seeing none, we will follow the orders of the day. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Mr. Sentinel.
I move that our chapter take a tour of the Case IH tractor assembly plant in Parli.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter take a tour of the Case IH tractor assembly plant in Fargo. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Mr. Sentinel.
this would be a great opportunity for our chapter. We have a lot of Case IH tractors around our area, and it would be good for our members to know how they're made and put together.
Madam President,
Madam Treasurer.
I strongly disagree with the previous speaker. I believe that John Deere tractors are much more prevalent in our area, and it would be more beneficial to our chapter if we could see how they were made so we could see what kind of tractors we prefer in our area. So I encourage you to vote down this motion.
Madam President,
Madam Vice President.
I agree with the previous speaker. I encourage you all to vote down this motion. We have many town kids and that do not live on a farm that have no interest in tractors. It would be against their likes to go tour a tractor.
Madam President. Madam Reporter.
I agree with the previous speaker. We should vote down this motion as Case IH is not a large industry that's used around our community, and our members who don't really have an interest in going to a tractor assembly plant in Fargo. Madam President.
Madam Reporter.
I move to amend the motion by inserting the words during state FFA after tractor assembly plant.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded to amend the main motion by adding the words during state FFA after tractor assembly plant. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Madam Reporter.
We do not usually go to Fargo. Fargo is a really long ways away for us in Powers Lake. And during FFA, we are already there. It would be in close proximity if we wanted to go to the Case IH. So I encourage you to vote for this amendment.
Madam President. Madam Vice President.
I encourage you all to vote down this amendment. There are many things that go into state convention. There is not time to go on a tour, as we have concerts and dances and tours already planned for us.
Madam President.
Madam Treasurer.
I agree with the previous speaker. I encourage you to fail this amendment because as state FFA or state convention has been shortened a day, we do not have any extra time in our schedule to allow for this tour. So I encourage you to fail this amendment.
Madam President,
Mr. Sentinel.
I agree with the previous speaker. As our Vice President already stated, we have a lot planned during state FFA. We have contests, and we are already required to go on one tour, so I encourage you to vote down this amendment.
Is there any more discussion? Discussion. All those in favor of amending the main motion by inserting the words during state FFA after tractor assembly plant, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Nays have it. Amendment fails. Is there any more discussion on the main motion?
Madam President.
Madam Vice President.
I move previous question.
Is there a second? Second. Previous question has been called. All those in favor of moving the previous question, please rise. All opposed, same sign. With 1 in favor, 3 against, previous question fails. Is there any more discussion on the main motion? Discussion. All those in favor of our chapter touring the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Nays have it.
Division.
Division's been called. We will vote. All those in favor of our chapter touring the Case IH Tractor Assembly Plant in Fargo, please rise. All opposed, same sign. With 1 in favor and 3 against, the motion fails. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Madam Reporter.
I move our chapter host donkey basketball. I move to withdraw my motion.
Withdrawal has been called. Are there any objections to withdrawing the motion? Seeing none, the motion is withdrawn. Is there any more new business?
Madam President,
Madam Treasurer.
I move that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our member SAE projects.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter post a bi-weekly SAE spotlight on social media to highlight our SAE member projects. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Madam Treasurer.
I encourage you to vote for this motion because the state has been doing this SAE project spotlight, and I think we should get behind them. And also, we have some very nice SAE projects coming up, and it would be a great way to influence other younger members to start thinking about their SAE.
Madam President. Madam Vice President.
I encourage you all to vote down this motion. We do an SAE project freshman year, and then we never really deal with them again. So it's not in our mind anymore to post bi-weekly about our SAE project.
Madam President.
Madam Reporter.
I agree with the previous speaker. We do not have prevalent SAE projects to highlight, so putting it on social media might make our chapter look bad.
Madam President.
Mr. Setna.
I disagree with the previous speaker. Having this SAE spotlight would encourage our members to do more SAEs. It would really get our chapter out there on social media, so I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Madam Vice President.
I move we take a 5-minute recess to gather more information.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded.
Madam President. As a parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
This is a 2/3 vote.
It's not. It's been properly moved and seconded that we take a 5-minute recess to gather more information. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Nays have it. Recess fails. Is there any more discussion on the main motion?
Madam President,
Madam Reporter.
the opposition has stated that we don't have prevalent SAEs, but I think that this would be a great way to make the members who have SAEs want to continue to do them after freshman year, and it would make them more prevalent. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Madam President.
Madam Vice President.
I still encourage you to vote down this motion. Thinking of the reporter, that is a lot of work to always be constantly posting on social media and reporting on our members' activities. So it's not in our advantage to always be thinking about that as well.
Madam President.
Mr. Setna.
I disagree with the previous speaker. As it's been stated already, it'd be good for our members to be pushed to do more work. It'd be good for our chapter, so I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Madam President,
Madam Reporter.
I strongly disagree with the previous speaker. I would be in charge of the social media, or I am in charge of the social media. I am really busy as it is, trying to figure out whose SAE project that we want to premiere, and all of the information regarding that is a big job, and I don't have time to do it.
Any more discussion? Discussion.
Madam President,
Madam Reporter.
I move to lay this motion on the table.
Is there a second? Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table. All those in favor of laying it on the table say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is laid on the table. Madam Treasurer, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Madam President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Powers Lake FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, please join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this meeting adjourned.